everyone, and welcome to this week's Naked Truth. My name is Trisha Hershberger, and I am joined today by Jason Inman. Give him a big round of applause.
Can I give
Woo!
myself applause?
Yes, you totally can. Welcome to the Naked Army.
Thank you. Does this count? Because I always wear this. Does this? I didn't take this off.
I think
Does
it's
that break the
probably
rules?
okay.
Okay.
I don't even have my engagement ring on right now.
Oh, so you're
Well,
you're double naked.
I'm double naked. Yeah, and you're not wearing any makeup, right?
No, no, not today.
Okay, well, that's good. So, guys, you may know Jason from DC All Access. You may know Jason from Screen Junkies. What else would they know you from?
I used to work for Rhett and Link, so I was on Good Mythical Morning all the time.
Yes, they are so
Oh.
awesome, and that show is
hmm
incredible.
Yep. I that was actually one of my first LA jobs. I was the first employee they hired in LA. It was me and the two of them in Rhett's garage.
That is such a cool story. How long did you
Yep.
work with them?
2.5 years. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But I was there for episode one of Good Mythical Morning.
Not many people can say that. I believe you are probably the only one
Yep.
besides Rhett and Link.
Yeah, only two other people. Yeah.
That is very cool. So before we jump into today's topic, which is why I have Jason here, I want to thank our Naked Army vloggers from last week. That's Kavaja, Hannah, Nicholas, James, Sarah, John, Carly, Julia, Prescott, and Kristen, Lawrence, Christopher, Richard, and Hiram. They all did their own Naked Truths on alcohol, and if you want to check those out, they are linked in the description below. But Jason is here today because we are talking about extraterrestrials.
Always a fun subject.
Da, 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 da. Aliens, do they exist? Do they not exist? Obviously, Jason and I have all of the answers to this.
Yeah, all of them.
So,
The three.
Jason,
Yeah.
why would you be a good person to talk about this? Give the viewers a little background on yourself.
I think because I would qualify myself as the ultimate Star Trek nerd. So if there's anybody that's going to talk about aliens and think that they're out there, it's going to be me.
It's not going to be astronauts. It's not going to
Nope.
be astrologers. It's going to
Nope.
be the biggest sci-fi enthusiast on the planet.
Yep. It's going to be the guy that came home from school and was like, "What planet did the Enterprise discover today?"
I love it so much. Do you still like watch reruns all the time?
Not as much as I used to because of time, but actually, the funny thing, I am actually rewatching Deep Space Nine right now with my girlfriend. So there you
Nice.
go.
And how does she like it?
It's our favorite series. It's kind of what we bonded on.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And she's totally okay with you being naked on the internet.
I don't think she knows about it yet, so she better be.
All right, you don't get me in trouble, sir. Explain that it's a totally PG thing.
Yep.
Okay, so real quick, do you think there's aliens or not?
Here's the real answer. It's tough. If you had asked me this 5 years ago, I would have said a definite yes.
Definitely
Now,
yes, aliens.
now, I'd like to hope, but I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I have
I'm
to
not sure
say my
anymore.
honest answer is fairly similar to yours.
Mhm.
My answer is I have no reason to believe they do exist, but I also have no evidence to prove that they do not exist. And so based on my personal experience, my answer is a big fat I have no idea, and I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question.
I think I'm
Um,
with you.
yeah, but it's really interesting to, talk about what humans have recorded over the years and what they do know and, why that could lead people to believe that there either are or are not. Um, and I was just kind of doing some research before this Naked Truth, and I know you can speak a lot to this. What would you say are the most convincing arguments that aliens do exist and are out there?
I think the strongest argument is just a little bit of common sense. And I know that sounds crazy when you're talking about aliens, but like I've heard many scientists, Neil deGrasse Tyson, even say this that the universe is like a beach where there are millions and millions and millions of grains of sand represent all the celestial bodies that are out there. And how is it in all those millions and billions of grains of sand is there only one place with any kind of life? That just seems scientifically impossible.
I agree. That is something that has been a big proponent of me thinking, well, of course, like how could we be the only planet that houses beings like us if you just can wrap your brain around or begin to wrap your brain around how infinite space is?
Well, even think about it like Earth. Think of the millions of species that exist on planet Earth. Why would that not be the same for the galaxy?
Right, because even if we start to think about, there are other planets that couldn't support life as we know it on Earth, that doesn't mean that there aren't beings that can live in other conditions that it would
Yeah.
be able to support.
You and I can't breathe underwater, but there are plenty of creatures on this planet that can.
Absolutely. And
So,
so what's to say that there's plenty of creatures that can exist, in a much hotter climate or a much colder climate?
hmm yeah, that I think is the greatest piece of evidence. Other than that, I don't think there is a lot, to be
Okay.
honest with you, um, because it's one of those things like I'm gonna say it right now. I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay.
I wanted to as a long time as a big fan of Ghostbusters. I don't believe in ghosts. I think our brains make up ghosts. And I think a lot of the situations where people are like, I saw an alien or I saw a UFO is our brain trying to explain something that we can't
Hmm.
understand and just being like, yep, UFO.
Yeah, I read an interesting thing that was saying that how people have UFO or say that have been abducted by aliens or had something implanted in them, or they've seen an alien is very similar to kind of this article. This article's bias, but it was saying it's very similar to when people would say that they were possessed by demons, way back in
Yeah.
the day, and this is kind of modern day society of having that kind of outlet and having that kind of experience, and that's how they explain it away. And I mean, I'm just like anyone else. When you see someone that's saying, oh yeah, I was abducted by aliens, you immediately think, cool, you're crazy. um
Yeah, you do. You're just like, you're crazy town, man.
Everybody does, but
Yep.
I somewhere along the lines, like there's things that make me question it, like the that old painting, the Madonna with Giovannino. I always say it wrong, but it's basically this painting that was done of the Virgin Mary with a saint in the background looking up at like this oval shaped orb with all these tentacles that's up in the
hmm
sky and like looking up to it and pointing. Um, and so stuff like that makes me wonder, like, God, was there something then? I don't know. What would you say to that?
I don't know. That's interesting because what's not to say that that's not just a mistake in the painting,
Well, he's
but
pointing at it.
our brains maybe are seeing something that's not there. Our human brains love to see things that are not there.
Yes,
So
that's
it's
true.
our brain's way of dealing with how do we understand the world.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I actually did not know about that painting until you emailed me it in the notes, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know about that.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, it's bizarre because you think like nowadays, yes, you can see people trying to explain that away or, just wanting to have that attention of I'm the one that saw the alien or whatever the reasoning may be. But when you think back then, would they have come up with that? I mean, I guess they would have.
I don't know. I mean, I think probably men have been looking to the skies, thinking that things came from the stars for as long as humans have been on the earth. And kind of just like to play devil's advocate to make this video interesting. Uh, in the world of cell phones and cell phone video cameras and people YouTubing and periscoping and everything, wouldn't there be a lot of evidence of
Yeah.
aliens out there? There should be tons of it. It should be millions. We should have seen it on camera already. But
Well,
weirdly,
and governments
nothing.
have been spending tons of money looking
hmm
for some form of extraterrestrial life for years and
hmm
haven't been able to find proof, at least that we know of, which then spirals into, when you start to hear from astronauts or high end government officials that say, oh, yeah, there's definitely a cover up. Those aren't necessarily people that we think are crazy. Like a good example in at least one article I was reading was saying that Bill Clinton said that
Oh,
there are files he's not allowed to look at when it comes to
that sort
finding
of stuff.
extraterrestrial life.
Yeah.
And like I think I mean I'm sure there are plenty of people that think Bill Clinton's crazy, but for the most part he was president of the United States. A lot of people are
He's a
going
Rhodes
to,
Scholar too. He's a
yeah.
smart man.
So or when you have an astronaut that says, yeah, when I was up there I saw something. These are
Mhm.
astronauts, they're highly trained individuals. I mean, yes, maybe they're not getting enough oxygen up there, or,
Mhm.
we can explain it away, but how do you personally react to that kind of information?
Um, I reacted to it that I think if the government was hiding that secret, I think it would have been leaked already. I
Okay.
mean, all you have to do is look at Edward Snowden. All you have to think is, and I know this is weird, like as the person that was like, I think aliens are out there, and I'm like knocking down every one of your theories. I'm like, no, you're wrong. So,
No, no, no.
um,
Well, and honestly, like this is exactly why I have you on here because they're not even necessarily my theories. Like we kind of
mhm,
both established in the beginning of this, neither of us really have any authority to say,
Mm.
oh, I'm sure that there are aliens, or I'm sure
Let
that
me
there
put
are
on my
not.
nerd glasses and tell you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But these are some of the more prevalent theories that are out there. So I feel like they're worth a conversation, and then there's people that will argue that when you say, well, there's no evidence to prove that aliens do exist, so therefore they must not, that's an illogical argument and that won't hold up. Or to say just because we haven't been able to prove that they do not exist must mean that they do. That is also an illogical argument,
Hmm.
you know. And then you brought up something called the Fermi Paradox. How
The
do you pronounce that?
Fermi Paradox. Oh my God. Okay, so this is what led to me not being sure about aliens. And this theory will blow your mind. Basically, the Fermi Paradox is the paradox of, if there are aliens out there, why have we never seen them? And that's exactly what it's a paradox. It's not meant to be solved. So it
Mm-hmm.
postulates that question. So scientists have tried to solve it. And through the ability of their solving, because the Fermi paradox, I'm going to go really complicated, but
Do it.
I'm so
Let's do it. I'm
fascinated by this.
excited.
The Fermi paradox is based on this thing called the Drake equation. The Drake equation is a mathematical equation that was exactly like I told you, the grains of sand, that
Mm-hmm.
statistically there should be something out there.
Oh, yes, I know
Yes.
this. So
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
saying that statistically, at least, what was that in the 60s that
Yes.
equation came out? They were saying statistically at that time, it was more statistically probable than not that there were alien life forms. But then isn't the update to that now with modern technology, a lot of that statistic probability has been taken away?
A little bit, a little bit.
Okay.
But I think there's enough there that they still count it. But basically, so that Drake paradox basically says that there should be 1% of the galaxy should be full of intelligent life. And so the Fermi paradox is like, well, why haven't we seen them?
Yeah,
And
1% of space is a lot.
1% of space should be intelligent. Isn't that great? That just makes you think how big space is. That's
Yeah.
insane. So one of the common theories to explain the Fermi paradox is that there must be something out there called the Great Filter. Now, what is the Great Filter? Well, the Great Filter must be this line that species hit for space travel or some big event in their civilization. So, their ideas are that either this great filter is so impossible that no civilization has ever gotten past it to travel in
Okay.
space, or that we are ahead of the great filter and nobody else is.
Oh.
So that kind of blows your mind too. That like, oh, we're ahead of everybody else in the galaxy,
I
and
find that hard to believe.
I do too. I do too, because there are a lot of theories out there that, like, in the amount of time that the galaxy has existed, if there was a civilization in the Milky Way galaxy that could travel at light speed, they would have been able to visit everywhere in the Milky Way galaxy by now. So
Yeah.
we should have seen them.
Right.
Um, but again, then it goes to the scary thing of nobody ever passes the Great Filter, and it's ahead of us. That's the scary part of this, where you're like, oh, interesting. So everybody blows themselves up before they get to space. Hmm. Maybe so.
That's fascinating.
But there are also there's so many, like, and you can go read. There's list upon list upon list of scientists trying to theorize the Fermi paradox. Like, one of them is like, aliens that got past the Great Filter would be so advanced that they would look at us like chimpanzees.
Right. I read something like that too. In This wasn't even today. This was like a while ago. So excuse me if I'm, paraphrasing it incorrectly. But it seems like exactly what you were just talking about, where say we as humans walk by a colony of bugs, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be, ants, whatever, and we don't see them as an intelligent life form, so we don't make any attempt to communicate with them. And wouldn't it then follow that if aliens who were so much more advanced than us
Mm-hmm.
passed by our planet, they wouldn't even think to bother to
Yeah.
communicate with us?
Yeah, there's also too, like, that is like, and that's very, like, yeah, why would they even care? There's also a couple other ones to, like, blow your mind, and that's why I find the Fermi paradox so infinitely fascinating, and kind of opens your mind to the universe, no pun intended.
Hmm.
Another solution that somebody came up with is that there's some sort of scary predator civilization out there that kills every civilization that gets past the Great Filter, and they're just waiting for us to get past it, and then they're going to knock us off.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and so they're the only one out there. There's another one that, like, says that the other civilizations that have got past the Great Filter are bottling us. So they put we're like a zoo. Our solar system is like a zoo, and they make sure that nobody goes into it
Okay.
until we're ready to perceive them or whatever.
Interesting.
But basically, all this, if you want to read up more about it, it's so interesting because it talks about that there are three types of civilizations out there. There's like a type 1, there's a type 2, and then there's a type 3. And basically, um, Carl Sagan theorized that we're a point 0.7
Okay.
civilization. A type 2 makes it past the filter. And then type 3 are like the most advanced utopian beings of all time. Like, so.
Do you remember what made us a point 0.7?
Oh, I don't. I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe I can look. I have a research window open over here too.
Well, look it up for us while I ask everyone. Obviously, you guys can probably figure this out. But my question to you, the Naked Army, this week is, do you, in your heart or in your mind, think that aliens may exist? If so or if not, why or why not? Please share that with the Naked Army. You can do it in a Naked Truth vlog of your very own, or you can do it here in the comments section. Please remember, if you're disagreeing with people, to do it respectfully and in a way that encourages open dialogue. We're not here to, I hate your face because you have a different opinion about aliens than me. That's literally the silliest thing I've ever heard in my life. So let's have intelligent conversation, please. And Jason, did you find anything?
Yes, I did. A type 1 civilization is a civilization that uses the entire energy of their planet. So Carl Sagan says that we haven't harnessed everything on our planet yet, so we're a point 0.7. And I was wrong. A type 2 actually is a civilization that can harness all the energy of their host star.
Oh.
So when we can harness everything we can from the sun, we'll be type 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope that I never live to see us become a type 2 civilization.
I hope to see us become a type 1, but I don't know. That seems like a long ways off.
I feel like that's when we're like, the sun's gonna explode and we're all gonna have to move to the moon and all these.
Well,
we
the
couldn't
sun's
move
going to
to
explode. The
moon if
moon's not
sun
going to be any
exploded.
safer.
That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work anyway. We'd have to go
Nope.
somewhere else. We'd have to
Yep.
pass through the filter.
Yep. We have to get past the filter. That's our only option. We have to build starships now.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, Jason, if they want to see more of you, where else can they see you? And do you have any big announcements that you want to make?
The perfect place to come see me is at youtube.com/Jawin. That's JAWIIN. That's also my Twitter handle. And for the next 20 weeks, I am doing a weekly web series called The Red Shirt Diaries, which spurned our alien discussion. It's about the lowest ranked security officer on the original series Enterprise. It's a Star Trek web series, and it's a comedy. And our episodes match up with the original series episodes. So if you want to watch the original Captain Kirk Star Trek and then come watch what our lowly security Ensign Williams has to blunder through in the episode, then they're a perfect companion series. And it's been my dream because I've always wanted to make something Star Trek, and now I am, and it's perfect.
Yay! That makes me
Every
so
Monday.
happy. Jason, thank you for getting naked on my show.
You're
Was it
welcome.
super weird?
No, I mean, I'll get naked to talk about space any day.
Okay, perfect. Well, there you have it, guys. If you want to get naked and talk about space, make sure you do that. Give a big thank you to Jason. Dun, dun, dun,
Thank you for
dun.
having me. This was so awesome.
Guys, stay in touch with Jason. If you have any questions, follow up with him, and I will see you next week on The Naked Truth. Bye.